Claire.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for coming in again.
Absolutely.
And how was your week?
It's been going all right. I'm still pretty anxious and nervous about my coworkers, even though I've started to work on it. But
okay. Well, we can definitely discuss that. Okay, we're definitely going to get into that. But first, I want to just recap with you from our last session. A reminder that I am a grad student, and this session is being recorded, and it will be reviewed by my supervisor and some clients, classmates. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it will be destroyed by the end of the semester.
Okay.
I am limited in my counseling abilities, so if at any point you feel like this is not a good fit, or your need is greater than my current level of competence and expertise, if you would like to be referred out, then that can definitely be arranged. Okay. The goal is always to make sure that you are being taken care of and that your needs are being met. Okay. Excuse me. So I know we talked last time about your current situation at work.
Right.
I know that we discussed that the goals that we set forth was for you to talk to a young woman to ask her if she wanted to have lunch. And then this is in response to you feeling isolated and ostracized by some of your other coworkers.
Right.
And you stated that you feel it is in result of your age and you being younger and your inexperience.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. I also remember you shared that you went to your director, which was very brave and a great step to take, and that she advised that you guys all getting together at some point to discuss the current work situation and the work environment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I remember you also stated that by the time we would meet today, some of those conversations would have already started.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna talk first about the meeting with the coworker, and then we're going to go into the meeting with the director. And it seems like, based off what you just shared in the beginning, that tends to be the more strained area.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So with the coworker, did you ask her to go to lunch?
Yeah, I did. I asked, and we went to lunch. She was one of my coworkers I wasn't having as much problems with, so I thought maybe she would be a good first person to ask. So we went to lunch, and we got to know each other a little more, and then I brought up some of the problems I'm having with more of the bigger group in my department, and to my surprise, she was actually kind of having some of the same issues. So it was good to talk to someone that could have like empathy towards what I was going through. So we were able to talk through it, and then think of maybe some possible solutions to start working on it with other people. So that went well. That part went well.
Good. That's really good. Yeah. So you have someone that you can relate to and sharing that with. So that must be nice to know that you're not alone in that boat anymore.
Yes. It's very nice. It was unexpected, but very nice.
And it started with that very first step of just asking someone to lunch, right?
Right.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank
I'm happy
you.
that you were able to connect with someone there. I know that was a big thing for you. I also remembered in our last session how you stated that it was important to you to have some type of foundation of somewhat of a friendship with your coworkers so that you can enjoy coming to work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Good.
Definitely a good first step.
That is. It was a really great first step. So shifting gears over to the director and the other coworkers. So I know that you said that some of those conversations would have already started. Can you explain to me what that looked like?
So the first thing I did, like I had told you, I met with my director, and I talked about the problems I was having with the coworkers and some solutions that I thought would work. So we kind of had started that, had a game plan with that. And then she met individually with those people and talked through those things and see if they're open to that. And then what we still need to do is for me to meet with the coworker and her to see if we can, come to some solutions and move forward.
Okay. So what I hear is that she met with some of the coworkers
Right.
individually, and now the next step would be for you guys to meet together.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And how does that make you feel, knowing that that's the next step of you being in the room with the director and that coworker?
Pretty anxious, honestly. I mean, to actually like sit and talk with them, like face to face. I don't know how it's gonna go. I want it to go well, but definitely makes me really nervous.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
How do you normally handle being in conflict situations such as those?
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes it's not really well. Like, I want it to go one way, and then I overthink it, and it goes a different way. So.
Okay. So when you say you overthink it, how does that play out in your mind, in your head?
Yeah. I think really it's just thinking about like all the ways that it can go wrong. Like not having enough like confidence in myself to like make it go well and like talk about what I want to talk about. So it's just like playing a scenario over and over again, like how bad it could go.
Okay. Have you ever thought how would it go if it went well?
Some, but it never seems to go like that. So it's kind of hard for me to like think of a positive when I always feel like in some way it goes negatively.
So let's say you are meeting with your director and a coworker, and it goes well. What does that look like to you?
I think like for it to go well, for us all to like listen to each other and to be open-minded and be willing to like work through the solution ideas I had, and wanting to move forward, not like holding any like prejudice either one of us may have had towards each other.
I can understand that. So to you, this would be successful if everyone come in with open mind,
right,
a willingness to change, and no intent of retaliation afterwards.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can understand that. There was one situation in my work experience where I had to have a meeting with my director and another coworker as well, and it was jarring at first, but it turned out okay in the end.
Yeah.
But I was also fearful initially of retaliation, so I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. It could happen.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Yes, but we don't not. Exactly. But we don't want to feed into the what ifs, especially the negative what ifs that can bring more anxiety. Right. The goal is to reduce anxiety.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you normally reduce your anxious feelings?
I do my best to like just not overthink it, to just maybe like breathe. I'm losing it again. Can you ask the question again?
So what do you do when you are anxious? What do you do to reduce those anxious feelings?
I just try to breathe and to be in a quiet area and not have like distractions.
Okay.
So just to like breathe and maybe think of some like personal affirmations to kind of like help calm myself down. So
good. And do this warrant as being successful in the moment of conflict, or is this something that you do after the conflict?
I feel I find myself doing it like after the conflict, like if like thinking about like what didn't go well, and how I can maybe try to improve the next time.
Okay. Have you had any success in those thoughts of what can be improved for the next time?
Some, but not as much as I would like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that. There's always areas and room for growth, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
So when you meet with your director and the coworker,
Right.
and anxious feelings arise during that session,
Right.
right? How do you plan to respond?
I mean, just to do my best to not be too hard on myself, because I can't move forward if I'm like going back and like being anxious and overthinking it. So just doing my best to like be kind to myself and not be mean to myself.
That's really good,
Yeah.
to not be mean to yourself. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And to give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
All right. And what have you considered if the individual is not receptive? How do you think you will respond?
I think that would be hard, but I would maybe try to like regroup and talk to my director. Maybe think of like a different way that we could try to work with that one person. Because if it's not working with one person, working as a cohesive group wouldn't work out. So let's try a different approach.
Okay. So will you say that the overall goal is to get them to like you, or is the overall goal for you guys to be a better team?
I would say to be a better team.
Okay. Do you understand maybe why I asked that question?
No, I mean, sort of, but
Okay. So I asked that question based off of your response.
Okay.
Of, if they're not receptive,
Right.
And then maybe finding another way to get to another approach. If the goal is for them to like you and you guys be friends,
Right.
That's a different set of tread to go along. If the goal is for you guys to have some form of professional mutual respect,
yes,
right,
definitely.
that's another tread to go along, right? So I wanted to understand exactly what your goal was.
Okay.
Because then that would help regarding, of course, moving forward with
Right.
sessions, right?
Right.
So it sounds like you're saying that your goal is to be a better team.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you have you met with your director after her meeting with the coworkers yet?
Not yet. She's still like in the process of meeting with the people individually.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So when you do meet with your director, and after she has met with everyone, what are you hoping that she would have for you?
Just like real attainable ways to move forward, So for like the individuals to be like receptive, so we can like take that next step and be more cohesive.
Okay. And then when you meet with her and the coworker, you guys would already devised a plan.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So what I would like to do is focus on, if let's say you said that you focus on when things get bad.
Right.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I would like to establish a goal.
Okay.
For us to accomplish as it relates to the upcoming meeting between you, your director, and a coworker, and then provide one practical homework assignment for you in preparation for that meeting.
Okay.
All right. So regarding the goal, what do you think the goal should be?
To like really have like started to like establish like working on those goals with the individuals, like so like after we meet with them, like me like taking that first step to like talk with them individually and like start working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, to move forward.
Okay. So it sounds like your goal is after all this is done, you feel more free to go directly to your coworkers and work with them.
Yes.
Okay. As for the session that you're going to have with your director and your coworker, if things don't go your way, how will you de-escalate any anxious feelings that may rise up?
Well, first to like not revert to like how I would be before, like super anxious, but maybe you know, like ask for like advice from other people, like how do you deal with it? You know, what are your like kind of like I guess like self-care techniques when you have these problems? Because maybe what I was trying wasn't working, so asking for advice on how other people deal with it.
Okay. So one thing I will advise, are you familiar with breathing techniques?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so breathing techniques have been proven to reduce one's blood pressure and physiological symptoms and anxious feelings in time of conflict or high stress situations.
Right.
So what we would do is take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. So during those moments where you feel anxious, particularly in real life times, such as meeting with your director and your coworker, that's a very easy thing to do in that moment to de-escalate any anxious feelings, right? And maybe it will help you be able to think a little bit more clearly and brainstorm more ideas in that moment, because we don't know how the other person is going to respond. And I want to make sure that you are responding in a way that's most healthy for you. Okay. So does that sound like something that you can do?
Yeah, I'll definitely want to give that a try.
Okay. And this is something that you can take with you in any high conflict or high stress situation, right? It's not just for that one situation. This is an example and a starting point, but this is something that you can take with you in all situations. Okay. So let's breathe in one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Okay, great. So just as a recap, so the goal is to be able to meet with your director and your coworker with reduced anxious feelings and be able to proceed forward with a great relationship with your coworker to be a more cohesive team. Right. We'll start this process with this a homework assignment of practicing breathing techniques so that when you do have that meeting with your coworker and your director, you'll be able to de-escalate any anxious feelings that you have.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna give it a try.
Awesome. And in the next session, we'll discuss how that meeting with your director and your coworker went. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. One last question before we part. Was there anything that you took from this session that was highly beneficial to you?
Really just like talking about all the techniques to deal with stress. So like you said, like the breathing and and then just trying to think of like other ways to deal with problems, to not just revert to like fear and anxious feelings. So you kind of help me have like a different point of view about those things.
Good. Well, I'm happy that this session was very beneficial for you. Okay. Do you have any other questions or concerns?
No, I think we went well. This was helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Okay. Thanks.